that stigma is something that we attach seriously to. But my concern now is for parents to begin to act beyond where they are now. First, dealing with denial. Because here's the challenge. If you have a special needs child who is neurodivergent, and you don't begin to deal with that or expose them as early as possible to learning opportunities, what happens is this. Those sensory neurons, brain cells that are still active, they die off easily. Why? Because you've not exercised
because
them.
they've not been exercised.
A human being that's
Wow.
pardon me, a human being that has at least some of the brain cells, they seem intact. Everybody's divergent in their own way. We may speak well, our eyes, we can see, we can hear, but every single one of us is deficient in one way. We may just not be on an autism spectrum or ADHD, or may not be physically challenged. But here it is. If a child who has special needs or is neurodivergent, so especially for the neurodivergent, if you don't begin to expose them to early learning opportunities, what happens is the brain cells die faster.
Wow.
You don't give them the proper diet, it's a problem for them. They're quicker to experience health challenges. And it means that they cannot adapt to a fast-paced, changing world. So what that means is that if they are lucky to have siblings, these siblings end up, it's a cycle of caregiving. These siblings end up caring for the special needs sibling. But here is the challenge. How many siblings actually would have the time to do so?
Because they also they have their lives to face. They have their own.
They have their life. They have their lives to live as well, you know. And so a lot of parents don't think. I don't mean to say it in an insult, in a derogatory manner. I'm just saying that this is the reality. A lot of parents just assume that they have siblings, they'll take care of them when we're gone. But the thing is that that sibling may just not be there. Cannot be there because they have their own lives to live.
But
God help you if you have.
Okay.
Yes.
I wanted to.
God help them if if they have a spouse that is, different. I mean, does not understand that the special needs person may be with you for the rest of your life. You're at a crossroads. That's why you get to see a lot of people roaming the streets.
Two things.
Adults with special needs.
Two things I want us to quickly touch on now. The parents, it can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming caring for a special need child. Let's look at the effect on the parents. How much frustration do you think that parents get in managing a child? Apart from the stigma, apart from dealing with society, apart from the normal pressures of life, how much? Let's try and make a sense of the kind of pressure. If you can actually describe maybe a normal day of a parent, how you think they relate or they cope on a daily basis with their special need child.
Well, first of all, parents daily deal with blaming, self-blame. They blame themselves for a lot of things. Either maybe one family member, or maybe they didn't eat well, perhaps they didn't attend antenatal properly. Sometimes it's even a case of blaming the spouse. I don't know what kind of family you came from. It's you that brought it up, that kind of thing. So there's always a daily case of self-blame, that it could be my fault. Then a case of shame when other children are making or passing milestones. The child is still at level 1. And it may take the child maybe 5 years to pass level 1 to level 2. Some other children have moved on in 3 months, in 2 weeks. A month 3 months, 2 months. It's taking a year plus for that child. So self-blame is one challenge. It's a mental pain and mental torture.
Wow.
Really, that's one big issue that parents face. And then shame that will I have to do this
for the rest
of my life? Yes. And then where's the money going to come from? And this is why I said parents need to take the bull by the horn, because it would get worse if you bury your head like an ostrich and say, no, it can't be my child. No, it's not happening to me. What will happen is you end up having someone who should have, you would have helped to outgrow the milestones, even though we're slow. What you'll be doing is you'll be teaching, the elementary things to someone who should have learned all these things at maybe the age of 2, 5 years, 6 years, to someone who is a 40-year-old.
Wow.
That gap is wide. And at that time, it's harder. Yes, they are becoming more, in spite of the neurodivergence or special needs capacity, they have their own emotions.
Wow.
They may just not express it the way
we're used to.
Let me not say normal.
The way we are the way other people are used to.
Yes, they can express themselves. They feel the frustration. They see that, I'm not like my siblings. Why am I like this? So for parents, we would make it as parents. Let me even add as we, because I have a sister who has special needs. We would make it worse if we do not begin to take the challenge up. And let me tell you something. Most, if not all of them, are so gifted. You'll be shocked that children with autism are very good with numbers. So why not expose them to numbers? Yes, early enough. From the time you discover that this child is likely to be autistic, so exposing them to numbers.
I have
they
read.
Will be your way,
I've come across materials.
With numbers.
Okay, I've come across materials, just to buttress what you're saying. I've come across some materials where you have someone with someone who is differently abled. Some of them are very good with drawings or arts or paintings or things like that. Some of them are very good with numbers. And you want that the way they process things, it's as if God God found a way to compensate them for the deficiencies. But you see, one can, just as you said, one can only discover that if you actually invest in it. It's frustrating. It can be tasking on your emotions, on finances, on even your psyche. But I believe that what you are telling us this evening is face it, because it's going to be there. It's not something that is going to go away. Let's look at you see, when we started talking about this, we identified the spiritual angle that we always bring to almost everything in Africa. So I want to also ask, do you think that religion plays some role, or our spiritual leaning, does it play some role in how quickly we are able to accept this situation and to seek solution? Do you think it plays any part?
The place of religion is more like a sword of Damocles, and I'll tell you why. But there's a role for where religion gives hope to the parents, because of the place of frustration, really. Hope in the sense that we have accepted, especially parents who have accepted that, yes, they have a neurodivergent child, they have a child who has special needs. It's only God that can help us. What can we do? Where can we take this child to? And in the place of prayer, there's comfort and there's direction, to know the steps to take to get the child the required help
that the child needs.
They need, per time. Then there's the other side of the sword where, for some areas, religion tells you that it is a demon from the family. It's a spiritual thing. I'm not saying there aren't spiritual incidences. There are. However, the same God who's given us that wisdom to create things around and open our eyes to solutions would of course lead you to that. So what happens is that some children are abandoned in prayer houses.
Wow.
And because of that, time is ticking.
Hmm.
They begin to lose certain abilities until they become unable to adapt to simple daily, behaviors or mannerisms and chores. It is that bad. And by that time, they'll rather feel, let's leave the child in a place of prayer house. That's the best they can do. There's only prayers. When there are other things that can be added to it. That's why I said religion is the sword of Damocles. I'm not saying there's a place it has helped parents and the child that has special needs, because such places are aware that there's a place for prayer, but there's also a place of, okay, as we're praying for this child,
let's take some steps.
Other tools that you will need as a parent to help. Of course, we took my sister to prayer meetings, prayer houses, pray for her, the brain tumor and all that. I heard all kinds of things until I had to accept that, look, it's something that may not change the rest of our life. But let's begin to take active steps. All right. Today she can do things by herself. She can do some things by herself. There's some other things that we know that she will still need more help. But at least it's a lot better than someone who actually cannot do anything. Because of denial. I mean, she can sew by hand. Give her material, she'll cut and create a dress by hand.
Wow.
Wow. And that's because she got intervention. It was a bit late, but she got some intervention along the way.
At some point.
And so this is where I advise parents, you have a special needs child, don't live in denial. Look for help. There are communities of parents who are now not, hiding their children. We have this lady who used to sing Kuchi Kuchi, Jody. Jody has a child who has special needs.
Yes.
And she has gradually come out.
She came out, I think, about last year or so. I think last year was when she actually came out with Story, if I remember very well. And that was very brave, very, very brave of her.
Yes.
And I believe that would give a lot of other parents, it will also give a lot of parents the courage to face up with their situation and to seek help.
Exactly.
What do you think?
Like I pointed out before, there has been a significant increase in neurodivergent children. Significant increase. And I can boldly say so because from my observation in schools and teaching, I'm seeing children more with ADHD. I'm seeing more children with autism on different levels of spectrum, of the spectrum. And that had to, that got me asking questions that for any parent now, you'll be doing yourself a disservice to first live in denial, to deny your child from early exposure to trainings and teaching. Because that way you can actually, decipher, you can sieve through the exposures of learning that these children are having to know which suits your child more. Begin to expose them to, trainings to help themselves manage themselves, especially when you cannot be there.
Okay.
Especially for those that are manageable. There are others who would need help 24 hours. So you know how to go about it. Either you begin to work, you work towards getting a help and all that. Now that brings me to finances. Let's talk about finances.
Okay. Finances.
Well, yes, finances is the core issue. And you have a special needs child or sibling, you actually have to make more money. So that the impact needs, what I mean by impact needs, maybe they need a walker, they need a special diet. I know for children, some children for autism, they need a special diet. They can't really take some foods that everybody's taking, So they have to be ADHD too. So many things. Impact needs needs to be covered with finance. So we have to see other means of making money so that you can make up for those impact needs. Okay, when, especially for the girls, when they'll need some help with the monthly
Flow.
occurrences. Who do you leave such a girl with? All right. How can you even communicate with that child to know this is a place of danger, this is a place of no danger? Do you understand? So this is more impact needs. Yes, ma'am.
You've actually done a lot. In fact, I was about asking about finances when you chipped it in. So you've treated a lot of things and you've opened us up to this information. Two things quickly before we let you go. First, do you think government is aware of the enormity of the work that needs to be done, and are they doing something about it? And I think I'll marry that with how much of support group is available to those that are listening now and say, okay, you know what, I need help. How much of it is, do you have an idea if government is doing anything, and if we have enough support groups?
Government is doing, in the sense that I do know that in universities, departments of education, they have special needs sectors. So at least our colleges of education are churning out teachers for special needs.
Oh, wonderful.
We're also having therapists, who are in the core special needs. But we need to increase, our participation in impacting special needs children, especially for teachers and from schools. Government needs to pump in more money. But I think private individuals are the ones taking the bull by the horn. I know the bank yearly sponsored a program for autism.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes, for commercial purpose, I won't mention. But on a yearly basis, they've always been sponsoring programs for autism. And in doing so, have created a community for parents who have children with autism to come talk. How do we deal with this thing? What's the next phase from babyhood to childhood to
adulthood or even teenage years.
To old age. We have. I recall when I used to work at sexual violence and domestic violence group, Mirabel Center. We were actually taught sign language. So that's also to tell you that we are aware of the growing needs of special needs people, or the neurodivergent people, or differently able people. Now we just need to match more competence and capacity with a growing amount of children who are born with special needs. And it's not a curse or anything, but the reality is what I have on my hands today. It's not something that is being fabricated. I've seen it every day. Like I said, I asked the doctor, why are we having more special needs children in this period? So what is going on?
Is there from the response that the doctor gave you? If I can actually bring the doctor, I won't mind.
She hasn't even given me a response. She's just then I'll get back to you.
Okay.
But other teachers, other trainers, I shared my concerns with, responded that they too noticed. They noticed that we're having more neurodivergent children.
Is there something we can do maybe at the point of people getting married? When people want to go get married now, they go check for their genotype, their blood group, their HIV status. They check for all those. Do you think we should begin to include some tests that will probably look at some compatibility in, could that help?
That will help. There's something medical. There's a medical line. A medical word, a technical medical word that describes that. I think genetic matching.
Okay.
Yes, that's the word, genetic matching. What that does is this. It tests and checks your genetic matchings, whether if at the point of having a child, there won't be something called a gene deletion.
Okay.
Gene deletion would mean that if there's the gene deletion, what could happen is a child may be born with a deficiency.
Wow.
Maybe neuro, maybe physical. It may just be that the child may not even live. So we still have the rhesus factor to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
We still have HIV to deal with. And most of the time, we're more focused on pregnancy tests and all that. I know for our moral standards, yes. But I think what's even more important is to find out if these genes if at all, if they become parents, they will not be dealing with issues, in terms of having children that may require some help. And sometimes life plays roles that die. It could, there are points where the medical, they're certified fit medically,
and some things still happen.
Roles that die to you, and then you're wondering what happened here. So it's still a case of here am I, God,
but yes,
all that,
But what would advise is, let's see if we can actually knock off all the odds, as many odds as we can do. As humans can do, and then we. Okay, please, you wanted to say something.
So we can do that. Yes. If all bases are covered, it's only wise to do so.
Okay.
And again, here, like I said, religion, the sword of Damocles, like a two-edged sword. Most times we like to live in denial that it can't happen to me. God forbid, it's not my portion. But only wise. I mean, insane clients and other clients, really, they go through every test they can. Every test. For those who are aware, they go through every test they can. Not because they're afraid of
but to prevent what can be prevented. If it's something that is preventable, why not?
They want to exactly at a certain month they have a test called aminocentesis. It's kind of test to check whether the child will have Down syndrome, particularly if the mother is older. Okay, but even now, even if you're younger, they still run that test to be sure that even the child does not have any deficiency. And if the deficiency is discovered, it's up to the parent to say, we're not going to do anything about this child. This child is a gift to us, and we'll prepare for for that child. I mean, there are children who were born with hydrocephaly. Okay, and they were cared for until help came, or until time in itself limited their chance to live. That kind of thing. We need that here in this part of our world. We need that acceptance and awareness. That look, if this is the case, let's run through all this tests. It doesn't mean that we're afraid or anything, but we just want to clear the path. Because the truth is, we really don't have. We're still growing in the knowledge of special needs care.
True.
So it will be unfair to you as a parent to ignore that very, very important area. Going through tests, be sure that you're both clear. And even if there is a child that's born, begin to look for help, not just financially.
Begin to look for help early. Not just look for help. You have to start early to look for the help before it's too late.
Exactly. Yes. So you have to look for communities quickly, so that once you have a community, you can actually, your questions can go answered, can be answered. You know what to expect.
You know what to expect and what to do.
Yeah, you know what to do, you know what to expect, and so you can tackle these challenges head on, and that beautiful child really does not have to have a delay in certain milestones. I mean, the lady who's training children on cerebral palsy and training parents on cerebral palsy is a lawyer. She went to university, primary, secondary, and she said her saving grace was that her mother, her parents did not treat her differently. They treated her like she was able, like every other, sibling.
Wow.
And so she was able to overcome any milestone challenges, even if it took a while, but she was able to overcome it.
Eventually.
And so now, yes, and now she can function regardless of that state in which she is in. She can function. And so you can imagine, if as a parent, you're hiding that child. I mean, how will they be able to function in a society where everybody is now more individualistic than community, focused? Exactly. So we need to actually come to terms with that fact that a lot of things have changed about the environment. The kind of foods we eat are genetically modified, which sometimes contribute to some of these things.
Exactly.
Yes. Our environment in itself is becoming more toxic. Too much is released into the air. We know the air we breathe in isn't clean all the time. The kind of water, things we even imbibe and take in, has a way of even modifying our bodies and all that. So it's a thing of being aware, standing aware, acting aware that these are the realities. And when you're aware, you're helping a child overcome a lot of barriers quickly.
Thank you.
Opposed to parents who live in denial, don't want to do anything. That child will be at the mercy of a community that is still trying to manage themselves. Imagine having a community where some families can barely take care of themselves, even with the able children. Then
to be saddled with another child with special needs can actually be very daunting.
Exactly. And then the stigma also, they're left on their own. Whereas these people have bundles of talent, abilities, that they can contribute to this world to make it a better place.
I must say a big thank you to you, Bukola, for sharing this with us. I didn't know we'd spend so much time because I was learning, I was soaking it in, and you've done a lot. I probably could have even mistaken you for a medical personnel because you were able to touch on so many of those areas that before now I didn't even know. And I can tell you that with this knowledge, my disposition to children with different ability or differently abled, as I said, the disposition I have now is better, and I believe anyone who listens to this is better disposed to people with special needs. And for parents who are listening too, I'm sure they're challenged to open up, to come out and seek help, and if possible start seeking help now, so that at least you can still get the best of training, the best of management for that child. Here is saying thank you to you, Bukola, for your time, for your thoughts, for sharing all those words. And permit me to actually salute you, salute your mom and your dad, and every parent really who has a child with special needs at this time. It isn't easy at all.
I'd say that I salute not. The salute should even go to all my siblings, because at every point in time we all chip in. Yeah, even though I'm more the primary caregiver, but everyone chips in to contribute one way or the other to ensure that she's comfortable, and we're good. It's important again that parents teach their children love. So you look out for the other person. You look out one for all for one. That's family approach.
That's so apt. That's so apt. You have the best of my regards, and please pass that on to your siblings. And for anyone who is watching this, and they've been coping, managing with, and giving the best they could to their special needs child. I salute you. Parenting in itself needs, in fact, we should be clapping for parents every day for the wonderful job that they're doing. Mothers, fathers, to now have, a child that you have to give extra care to. We should salute such people. And so here is celebrating everyone who's been able to, who lives each day at a time, but hopeful that their child will get the best in this life. Salute to everyone. Bukola, thank you so much for your time again. I always enjoy sharing moments like this with you, learning together. It's been wonderful having you on Mayokun MA. So you can check Bukola out. She's Bukola Ajiboye on all social media platforms. And you can check her out, Oraduni. Oraduni has a history. Someday we'll tell the history, right? We'll tell of the history of Oraduni. All right. Thank you so much.
You can check me on Instagram Oraduni and Bukola Ajiboye on Facebook. So once in a while, I post what I do.
Yeah.
And you can always find out.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all you do. God bless you. All right. So thank you everyone who joined, and please feel free to share your thoughts and your comments. If you know anyone who's going through this condition, or a parent who is battling with this, encourage them, share this with them so they can be encouraged and they can know what to do. Share, subscribe, and be part of this community. Let's build it together. My name is Mayokun MA. See you next time. Bye-bye.